In 2013 and 2014, I got the amazing opportunity to volunteer at the Toronto International Film Festival. Now, this opened me up as a film fan, especially as an independent film fan, into such an enormous world of the best cinema to come out internationally. And for those 2 years, I discovered so many unbelievable projects that I would have never heard of otherwise. Unfortunately, I've never volunteered since, which is a tremendous shame. However, every single year I would always check out every trailer that was going to be premiering or being shown at the festival. And in 2016, they premiered The Seventh Fire, which is a documentary which is actually produced by Natalie Portman, Terrence Malick, and Chris Eyre, if I'm pronouncing Eyre correctly. We all know Natalie Portman, of course. She's been in a ton of stuff. And Terrence Malick is the director of The Thin Red Line and The Tree of Life. I'm just surprised that Natalie Portman would direct a very independent documentary like this. You would think that she would have some kind of connection. Now, this basically is about a Native American tribe in a very small town called Pine Point, Minnesota. It looks like it's like 100 people in the movie. It's so small. And it's on this Indian reserve called White Earth Indian Reserve. And Natalie Portman, I don't really know the reasons behind why she decided to produce the project. Same with Terrence Malick, but obviously they have some sort of love for the script or the idea of it and everything. I think it took about 10 years to make because I believe the director, Jack Pettibone Riccobono, started in 2006, according to Wikipedia and IMDb. And basically, I saw the trailer for this film when it was premiering in 2016. This premiered in 2016 at TIFF. And this just immediately looked like a documentary that I would want to make. This is the type of documentary that I would want to make. I had already filmed and produced a short documentary at this time in college, because when I did volunteer at Toronto Film Festival, I was in college. And this is basically a very quiet documentary about two main guys and their life in Pine Point. It's super, super quiet. You have to really enjoy watching films for an experience rather than a story. It has a story, but the story is very small. It's almost like literally documenting like a random half day in somebody's life kind of thing. Not too much happens out of the ordinary. These people are just living their life. And this documentary crew is documenting them and filming them and just displaying their everyday behaviors and what they do in an average day in Pine Point, and the stories they tell and stuff like that. So the main guy, this guy right here, his name is Rob Brown, and he's been basically a drug dealer in this Native community for years. He's been to jail 4 times, and he's convicted of a bunch of other things that's going to be landing him in jail for a 5th time. He has a child on the way right before going to jail, and this is documenting his story basically, I would say, weeks before maybe even days before he's going into prison. And he's going to be in prison for a long time. I think it's 10 years they mentioned. And it's just going through him, and then there's another character, a younger character, this guy right here. His name is Kevin, and he is basically a middleman drug runner. So he'll take money from people, he'll go pick up drugs, and then he'll deliver basically. And he's an up and comer in the town. Like I said, this town is so small. And one of the second thing too, aside from the the story that the documentary is telling is that the documentary is surrounded by the most beautiful cinematography ever. I'm a visual guy when it comes to cinema. Like, style over substance, I'm all over it. Okay, like, you don't need that much of a story. A lot of people need like a deep plot, and if the plot is simple, they can't do it. You can visually stun me when it comes to uh, cinema. I'm very into cinematography. I'm very into videography. Like, just the way shots are stylized, the sunsets, the atmosphere. Pine Point is in Minnesota. I'm Canadian. I don't live in the States. I don't live in Minnesota. However, in the summer of 2016, between May and August, Toronto International Film Festival is in September. So between May and August, I was dating this girl, and where I live, Toronto is north of Lake Ontario. West of Lake Ontario is a city called Hamilton, and I lived in Hamilton for quite a bit. And right near Hamilton is this First Nations um, area called Oswego. And this girl didn't live in Oswego, but lived very, very close. So I would spend a lot of time in the area and in the small towns surrounding Oswego, and where a lot of First Nations people lived. And watching this documentary, just the trailer alone, but watching the whole thing entirely, really felt like home. Well, not like home. It felt like the environment that I was in for so long. It brought nostalgia to me. It brought familiarity to me. And films capture me that way. Even if the film is nowhere close to where I live, if it reminds me of somewhere where I spent a large chunk of my life in, that's really what draws me into film. A film called My Brother the Devil, which is a British film, did the exact same thing to me because the East London setting that My Brother the Devil takes place in really reminded me of the Hamilton setting that I lived in for 6 years. And the cinematography, again, in that film is absolutely amazing. So I recommend My Brother the Devil, as well as The Seventh Fire, if you're into visually stunning scenes and just the way they film sunsets and towns, and just capturing a lifestyle of these people that live in this community. It's beautiful, and it's tragic because I mean it's not a happy lifestyle these people are living, but it's just, you know, it's so true, and it really feels like you're in the situation. You're where everybody is, where, you know, Kevin has this girlfriend, the younger kid, and you know, they obviously do drugs together. Later on in the documentary, it shows them breaking up, and the I don't know if Rob Brown, the this guy, is the older brother of Kevin or not, or I know that they're like, he's basically his mentor, you could say. I know that for sure, but I don't know exactly if they're related. But like I said, it's not a film where a lot happens, but it's a film that feels so real that it almost, well, that's what documentaries are supposed to do, so I guess I'm kind of stating the obvious. But it just really, really captivates you into the film. Like, I mean, there's tragic scenes where like the guy's doing coke in front of like an infant kind of thing, with the mom holding the infant, and then she'll put the infant down and then do a line of coke herself. There's scenes where people are lighting couches, you know, on fire in the middle of the street. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of authority around this town. It's like half abandoned. It has kind of that feel. There's this scene where they're kind of having a party, you could say a goodbye party for Rob, and it's, you know, it's just chaos because everybody's getting wasted, and when they shouldn't be, because most of the people in this film, when they get drunk, they get very violent, and then shit just goes crazy, and nobody can handle their alcohol, and it's just it's it's a it's a it's a true portrayal of a very small place and the everyday experiences people go through. Just a simple shot of like this guy walking across a bridge where a train is going across. And he's walking casually, and it's a beautiful, like sunny, warm looking day. And then you can hear the train coming, and he casually sits on the side of the bridge with his feet hanging so the train can go by. And he's just chilling there, and then the train goes by, and it like blocks the sun, and then the sun's rays just shine in it, like giving the scene a natural light. Like everything seems so natural in this film, as if they didn't even have to use artificial lighting or artificial Foley artistry or anything like that. It just really feels natural. And then the train goes by and he gets back up and he continues on his way. The story that Rob is telling when he is in prison, because he starts writing a novel in prison, and he's basically writing a fictional book, which you can kind of tell is based on him. And it has to do with like the death of, like, he's writing about a boy that was born in 1975, I think, and then he's 11 in 1985, and that's when he lost his father and stuff like that. And he's talking about his native name. I think it's Two Birds or Two Birds or something like that. But he's basically describing that his native name means the leader birds that lead the other birds and kind of warn the other birds of danger. And that's how he relates his life to his experiences growing up. And it's really about the guilt that he feels in bringing, or being a huge part of bringing, these drugs into this town that he calls home, and that is basically filled with his entire family, and if not family, then really, really close friends. And him feeling the guilt of, this kid Kevin coming up in this world that he created. And like I said, it's just a lot of people living. It's just such a beautiful film about a glimpse into a lifestyle. And it is just done so well, like 10 out of 10 well. I forgot to mention the amazing powwow scenes that are displayed in the movie, especially one in particular in the basically final 10 minutes of the movie. Just absolutely beautiful visually, and everything that's going on in this powwow, and the culture and everything on display. Just really, really beautiful stuff. It's incredible. The final shot of the movie is just him riding a motorcycle with the camera basically on the motorcycle, kind of GoPro mode. And it's a sunset, and it's just, you have to kind of, it's in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, they put that scene in the trailer. And that scene alone will capture the essence of basically what you're to expect in the movie when it comes to visuals. So, like I said, if a film with a lighter kind of slower progressing and slower moving story bores you, I mean, The Seventh Fire is not going to win you over. But if you really like to have an experience with another culture or another, way of life, the way a certain group of people live in a certain place in the world, surrounded by the most beautiful, visually stunning scenes ever, to complement that not story, but that theme kind of thing, then this is by far one of the best recommendations that I could ever give. And like I said, obviously Terrence Malick and Natalie Portman saw something in the idea and wanted to support it, because they did. This also comes with 2 short films, Killer and The Sacred Food, and some deleted scenes as well. I didn't check out the short films, but I should, obviously. And what else was I going to say? Yes, I did read that this was put on Netflix. It's not on Canadian Netflix, but it was put on American Netflix. I don't know if it's still there because this was December of 2016 that it was put on Netflix. So maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Either way, go find it somewhere. This premiered at so many festivals and got incredibly positive reviews. And it's a beautiful, beautiful documentary. So highly, highly recommend The Seventh Fire. Directed, again, I apologize if I don't pronounce this correctly, Jack Pettibone Riccobono. So that is The Seventh Fire. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for that. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. And until next time, have a good one. Take care and cheers.